Hi folks, it's John from lastchanceautorestore.com. This is the glamorous part of working on tribute cars or Factory 5 type cars where you have fiberglass bodies, gel coat, and kind of rough seams and so on coming out of the molds. So lots of progress. In the last video we shared with you where we had this front nose cone or front section on the floor, and we looked at how nice the frame and everything looked, but nothing was bolted up. So now the guys have been making lots of progress. So it's kind of finicky work, and we've got this strap which looks kind of barbaric right now, but we've done a lot of measuring and trimming, and we're just kind of trimming slowly because these front ends are always longer out of the molds than necessary, and then you trim as you need, and then that's when we're going to get the wheel wells to line up with the lower rocker panel, all that fun stuff. So we have, at this point, we have the front end bolted up to the main brackets. We've got the two struts. There's struts that attach from the frame to the nose, one on each side, so that when you go to lift the hood up, the whole thing tilts this way, and the struts take the pressure and hold it in place. We've trimmed, measured, and cut the bottom nose a couple of times so that we have enough clearance for it to do that, and now we're getting some gaps, just getting a little bit closer. The reason why I'm so dirty is I've been doing some work on the back, which we'll share with you. So if the camera person come this way just a little bit, so you can see here, we basically just have a spacer in here for now to help us with lining up. But you can see right now, this front edge or top edge of the flare is still too far forward compared to this bottom rocker panel. So there's still some adjusting to do, but we have it a lot closer than it was. This was probably a 1/4 inch further away originally. And then you can see on the side here, we're making nice progress. The shape always wants to change a little bit, and that's why it's taking so long to set this up, because if you adjust a little bit on the front driver's side, it wants to push this side out a little bit. So we're just getting it really close now. We've got a spacer in here underneath the hood to kind of hold it so it's almost flush, which is hard to see. There's a threaded rod in there just to kind of hold things in place. So this is kind of a teaser with this is getting really close to being able to open and close. Now, as we come around the hoist, I apologize because it's kind of crowded here. What I thought I would start doing while the guys were working on the front nose, there were so many pieces because they've got all these individual pieces that they mold together. And you can see here how sloppy it is when it comes out of the mold. They didn't spend any time grinding any of that out. You can see this piece here is a lot lower than this piece, so it looks really nasty. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to start dealing with getting the high points for where the molds are joined, get the high points down, and it's going to expose all of the areas that we need to do some body work on. So the guys are wearing masks, and I'm wearing a mask because we want to make sure that we don't inhale a lot of this dust. And then if we come around this way, I think there's enough room for a camera person. You can see once again, there's high and low spots where they've seamed the rear hatch and this rear panel. You can see here, this just had a bunch of goop, almost like a body filler or something. So I don't know if that was damaged before they assembled it, or if they just don't. Anyways, that'll have to be repaired with proper resin and fiberglass. You can see here. So there's a lot of edges that don't really line up, so it's going to require some body work. Same thing along here. And then this is kind of surprising. We actually have a peekaboo hole through there. I don't know if the camera person can pick that out, but so we'll have to use special resins and bonding agents because we want to make sure that we seal that up. And then we'll sand by hand. Anything that's shiny will be all flat, and then we'll do the body work so it all kind of matches. So as you come over to this side, which will be the passenger rear section, I'm not sure how much of it's going to be able to show up in the camera, but basically this upper section here, closer to the window, that comes around the fuel tank and then comes along the roof line. On this side, you can see the shiny red here still. So this section is considerably lower than this outer quarter panel section. I've already sanded this down as far as I can. If I go much further, I'm going to break through the fiberglass. So that's as far as we can go, which means this is going to be our body line, and this, the rest of this, will need to be built up to match it and taper it out. And then same thing here. So this is all low here, or sorry, this is all high on the outside part, and then this whole other section, this piece, is all too low. So we'll have to work on that and massage that to make it fit better. So this is really messy, but this is a really necessary step. So we basically, we're using 80 grit paper, and we're getting the top coat. I always call this a shipping coat because they put it on quite thick, and it's fairly porous, so it basically hides imperfections and it helps protect it in shipping because they're shipped in crate form. And then normally you'd like to see these seams kind of tidied up a little bit, but that's why it's here, is we need to make sure that we don't have any areas, which I think there's going to be a few, which is really common when you get into like a tribute car kind of thing where it's fiberglass and molds. You're always going to have to deal with making sure that the adhesive is all the way through and consistent. And on this one, we'll show you in another video, when it's up on the hoist a little bit higher, with just our normal fluorescent lights, we can see daylight through some of the seams. So we'll share with you later, we'll have to reinforce those pieces from the back side to strengthen it, because it's not just cosmetic at this point. We want to make sure that it's strong. And then you can see here, this isn't so bad. It'll probably come up in the camera decent. So where this piece is molded to the quarter panel, you can see it doesn't need a whole lot there. You can see the seam, it's just low in there, so that's kind of what I would expect. But as we get up higher, this is quite a bit thicker, and then this piece is probably I would say the second worst on the whole car. You can see this is fairly close to the roof line, but then there's a big drop off here where it goes from here and steps down. So this is going to require probably some re-fiberglass work. We might have to trim some of that away, but we'll share with some details on that later on. So lots of progress. The dirty part, I'd like to get this dirty part out of the way. So we'll basically just break this off, expose all of these areas, and now that the guy's left, I'll continue to do this, and we'll kind of get this a lot closer. And then before we put any body filler on or smoother on, I'll share with you the proper way to do this. And then we'll continue on. And by that time, we should have the front nose operating. So I'll share with you how that opens and closes with the latches. So this is the Factory 5 Racing 65 Coupe. And I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.